Hello and welcome back to GDPR by Noor. In this session, we will examine three landmark decisions in which European data protection authorities ruled that Google Analytics violates the GDPR. Let's understand how. Google Analytics is widely used, but in 2022, multiple European authorities ruled it violates GDPR. The issue is data transfer. European user data goes to US, creating a Chapter 5 compliance failure. The risk is real. Organizations have already been violating, and enforcement is increasing. If you use Google Analytics or advise anyone who does, this lesson is essential. GDPR Chapter 5 Foundation. Article 44 sets the rule when personal data leaves the European state, the GDPR level of protection cannot be lowered. Article 45 allows transfer only when the destination country has an adequacy decision. And when there is no adequacy decisions, Article 46 will be used. Transfers are only allowed with appropriate safeguards, most commonly used standard contractual clauses. Recital 101 reinforces that all transfers must fully comply with Chapter 5. At the time of 2022 Google Analytics ruling, the US had no valid adequacy decision. Privacy Shield had been invalidated by Schrems II, and Europe-US data privacy framework did not yet exist. In that gap, SCCs alone were ruled insufficient to protect European data sent to US. Schrems II was decided on 16 July 2020. It concerned transfer from Facebook Ireland to US under the EU-US Privacy Shield. The court invalidated Privacy Shield because US surveillance law allow broad access to European data and offer no effective remedies for European citizens. The court confirmed that SCCs remain valid, but only if the exporter verifies case by case. If they don't, supplementary measures are required, and if those measures cannot fix the risk, the transfer must be suspended. This ruling reshaped data flow and placed the burden on controllers to prove that transfers are safe. For US transfers, this is extremely difficult due to surveillance law. Schrems II is a legal foundation for the Google Analytics rulings. After Schrems II enforcement was coordinated, none of your business files 101 complaints in August 2020 across the 30 European countries targeting Google Analytics and Facebook tracking. The core argument after Privacy Shield was invalidated, no lawful transfer mechanism existed for sending European data to US. The EDPB coordinated the handling of these complaints to ensure consistent decisions across Europe. Over the next 18 months, multiple DPAs issued ruling. The first three decisions are the key ones, and that we will discuss in the next slides. Case 1 Austria DSP decision. The data was personal data. IP addresses, unique IDs, browsers parameter were ruled to be personal data under Article 4.1. Google's claim anonymization was rejected. A transfer to US occurred. Google Analytics sent European user data to Google LLC in US, triggering Chapter 5. SSCs were not enough. The DSP found that standard contractual clauses could not compensate for US surveillance law. Supplementary measures failed. Google encryption and pseudonymization measures were deemed insufficient because US authorization can compel access or decryption. The controller were responsible. The violation was attributed to NetDoctor, not Google. Under GDPR, the exporter must ensure lawful transfer. This ruling was the first major enforcement action declaring standard Google Analytics use incompatible with GDPR. Case 2 French CNIL decision. Same conclusion as Austria. Using Google Analytics results in unlawful transfer to US, violating Article 44. The data is personal data. IP addresses, unique IDs, and browsing information can identify users, especially when combined with other data that Google holds. The controller is responsible. CNIL emphasizes that the website operator, not Google, is legally responsible for ensuring a lawful transfer under GDPR. 1 month compliance deadline. The operator had to either switch to another analytics tool that does not transfer data to US or stop using Google Analytics. CNIL published the decision and guidance. This ruling confirmed that Austria was clear message that Europe-wide enforcement pattern was emerging. Italian Supervisory Authority decision. Multiple GDPR violations. The Italian supervisory authority found breaches of Article 5, 13, 24, 44, and 46, going beyond Austria and France. Transferring to US were unlawful, which triggered illegal data transfer under Article 44 and 46. IP truncation did not fix the problem. It's still personal data. US surveillance law still apply even pseudonymization data can be accessed by US intelligence agencies. Transparency failure. The privacy policy did not properly disclose transfers to US or associated risks. Accountability failure. The controller could not demonstrate a valid transfer impact assessment or adequate safeguards. This ruling showed that GDPR analytics can trigger multiple GDPR failures, not just transfer violation. European enforcement pattern. After Austria, France, and Italy, more authorities reached the same conclusion. Google Analytics is unlawful US data transfer. Denmark, Sweden, and the Netherlands all aligned. Consistent, harmonized enforcement across Europe, not isolated, not accidental, a unified interpretation of GDPR rules on international transfers. If you use Google Analytics and serve users in Europe, you can face the same legal analysis that led to these decisions. The risk is real and increasing. Key takeaways. IP addresses are personal data. Even truncated or pseudonymized IP addresses are still personal data under GDPR because they can identify a user when combined with other data. Controllers are liable, not processor. Under GDPR, the website operator is responsible for lawful data transfer, not Google. Every enforcement action targeted the controller. If you use Google Analytics, your organization carries the legal risk and must perform the transfer impact assessment. Key takeaway 3. SCCs alone are not enough. Standard contractual clauses cannot fix the core problem. US surveillance laws override the contractual promises. Key takeaway 4. Encryption is not enough. Encryption does not solve the transfer problem because Google holds the decryption key. If the importer can decrypt the data, encryption cannot be an effective supplementary measure. Multiple authorities confirmed this. Key takeaways 5. Pseudonymization has limits. Google Analytics data is pseudonymized, not anonymized. Truncated IPs, hashed IDs, and browser fingerprints still allow Google to single out users, especially when combined with data from search, YouTube, Android, and other services. Under GDPR, pseudonymization data is still personal data. So chapter 5 apply in this condition. Takeaway 6. US surveillance law are the core barrier. Schrems II made this clear. US surveillance law allows broad access to non-US persons data with no effective remedies for European citizen data. Because of this legal framework, transfer to US cannot guarantee an European equivalent level of protection even with SCCs or technical measures. Takeaway 7. Transparency obligation. Under Article 13, controller must clearly inform users when their data is transferred to third country and what safeguards apply. Failing to provide this information is separate GDPR breach, independent of the unlawful transfer itself. Accountability must be demonstrated. GDPR Accountability Principle Article 5, 2 and 24 requires controller to prove compliance. For international transfer, this means documenting a transfer impact assessment, evaluating third country laws, and recording any supplementary measures. The Italian Supervisory Authority ruled that failing to produce this documentation is itself GDPR violation. Key takeaways 9. Consent cannot fix unlawful transfer. Article 49. Consent applies only to occasional, exceptional transfers, and Google Analytics involves systematic, continuous transfer and cannot rely on consent. Supervisory authorities consistently reject consent as legal basis for these transfers. You cannot consent your way out of Chapter 5 requirements. Analytics 4 and Data Privacy Framework. Google Analytics 4 does not fix the GDPR transfer problem. Data still flows to United States. Google LLC still has the access. The US surveillance laws still apply. No European authority has declared Google Analytics 4 compliant. EU-US Data Privacy Framework. The DPF restored an adequacy decision, but it did not reform US surveillance law. It is already under legal challenge. Many experts expect it to stuck down just like Safe Harbor and Privacy Shield. Bottom line, neither Google Analytics 4 nor the Data Privacy Framework provide a reliable long-term compliant path. For stability and certainty, organizations should use analytic tools that avoid US data transfer entirely. GDPR compliance alternatives. If Google Analytics is off the table, there are strong privacy first analytic tools that avoid US data transfer entirely. These solutions share four compliance by design traits. Europe only data hosting, no international transfer, no Chapter 5 issues, minimal data collection, privacy by default, metrics without profiling, cookie free analytics, simpler e-privacy compliance, full data ownership. You control storage, access, and retention. The four leading options you will examine next are Matomo, Plausible Analytics, Fathom, Umami. Each offers a different balance of features, simplicity, and control, but all provide a sustainable GDPR compliant alternative to Google Analytics. Alternative 1. Matomo. Matomo is the most feature-rich and enterprise-ready GDPR-compliant alternative to Google Analytics. It's open source, mature, and fully auditable. You can self-host it or use it Europe-hosted cloud. It offers advanced feature, heat maps, session recordings, A/B testing, funnel e-commerce tracking, or even log-based analytics for high-security environments. It includes a built-in GDPR manager for consent, retention, and anonymization setting. When self-hosted or using Europe Cloud, all data stays in Europe, eliminating transfer risk entirely. The trade-off is complexity. Matomo is powerful but requires more setup and maintenance. For organizations needing a full Google Analytics replacement without violating GDPR, Matomo is the gold standard. Plausible Analytics. Plausible is simple, lightweight, privacy-first alternative to Google Analytics, open source and fully auditable. Ultra-light tracking script for fast performance, a clean one-page dashboard with only essential metrics, no cookies, no personal data, no cross-site, no session tracking. Typically no consent banner required, hosted in Europe with self-hosting option. GDPR, CCPA and PECR compliant by design. Plausible is ideal for organizations that want straightforward privacy respecting analytics without complexity. It's not built for advanced features but for clear essential insights it excels. Fathom Analytics. Fathom is simple privacy first fully managed SaaS analytic platform. No cookies, no personal data, no cross-site tracking, clean minimal dashboard with essential metrics. Import historical Google Analytic data, making migration seamless. Support multi-site management up to 50 sites per account. GDPR, CCPA and PECR compliant. Hosted on privacy respecting infrastructure with no consent banner needed in most cases. Competitive pricing, especially for high traffic sites. The main limitation, no self-hosting, so you don't get full infrastructure control. For agencies, freelancers, and business wanting simple compliant analytics with zero technical overhead, Fathom is an excellent choice. Umami is developer-friendly, privacy by design analytic tools, open source and easy to self-host. Collect no IP addresses, no cookies, no personal data. Lightweight script with simple dashboard, page views, visitors, events, real-time stats. Fully GDPR compliant because it tracks only aggregated non-identifiable data, can be deployed anywhere, your own server. Umami is affordable, European hosted cloud, highly customizable, and ideal for teams that want full control. The trade-off, Umami is intentionally minimal and lacks advanced features like heat maps, session recordings. For lightweight, privacy-first, developer-friendly solution is excellent choice is Umami. Which one should you choose? Need advanced feature? Matomo. Want simplicity with managed hosting? Plausible or Fathom? Developer who wants control and minimalism? Umami. This gives you a clear, fast way to choose the right GDPR compliant analytics tool. How to migrate away from Google Analytics. Audit your setup. Identify what you use in Google Analytics and what you need in replacement. Assess your risk. If you have European users, urgency is high. Review privacy documents. Note what must change when you switch tools. Choose your alternatives. Matomo for advanced feature, Plausible, Fathom, Umami for simplicity. Run in parallel. Test the new tool alongside Google Analytics to compare data. Import historical data if supported. Fathom, Matomo. Update your privacy policy. Reflect the new provider and data practices. Complete your migration. Remove Google Analytics before any enforcement risk materializes. Maintain compliance. Keep documentation, monitor legal updates, and train your team. This gives organization a fast, clear roadmap for leaving Google Analytics and moving to GDPR compliant alternatives. Key legal references: Primary Law GDPR, Chapter 5, Article 44 to 50, International Data Transfer, Article 5, Processing Principles, Article 13, Transparency, Article 24, Accountability. Relevant recitals are Recital 101, Transfer must fully comply with Chapter 5, Recital 102, 108, 109, Adequacy, Safeguards and Derogation. Schrems II invalidated Privacy Shield and set the modern standard for data transfer assessment. EDPB guidelines, supplementary measures and transfer impact assessment. Guidelines when GDPR applies to international transfers. Guidelines, adequacy decisions and binding corporate rules. Key enforcement decisions based on Austria, France, Italy, and these all are publicly available on EDPB websites and national DPA sites. This is the core legal foundation behind everything you have covered. Final action points. Know the fact that Google Analytics 4 involves US transfer. DPF ruled them unlawful. The DPF is active but unstable and under appeal. Assess your setup. Identify where your analytic data goes, whether you rely on DPF or whether you have European user. Decide your risk level. Rely on DPF or avoid US transfer entirely with an European hosted tools. Choose your replacement. Advanced for Matomo, simpler for Plausible or Fathom, developer friendly Umami. Migrate. Run a parallel import historical data. Update privacy document. Update Article 13 notices. Update contracts. Document everything. Keep your transfer assessment and decision rational. Monitor, follow the DPF court case, DPA enforcement and EDPB guidance. This is the core checklist for replacing Google Analytics and staying compliant. Thank you for watching. If you need any help or guidance, you can contact and book a free consultation.